We're going to get to the latest on James Wiseman coming your way on Golden State Warriors today, but first, make sure you subscribe to the channel for the best Warriors coverage on YouTube. We're about 400 people away from 47,000 subscribers. I'm shooting for 50. Help us get there. Stay informed and in the know with all things Dubs year-round. Subscribe, and let's begin today's show. Many of us are big fans of James Wiseman, but up to this point, he has not reached expectations since being that number 2 overall pick a couple of years ago for the Golden State Warriors. So, because he doesn't fit the current timeline for the Dubs, could he get traded? And if he does, what are some trade destinations? We're going to go through 5 trade ideas on today's show. First, let's talk a little bit about the player. I will say, since getting elevated up to the G League, or from the G League, I should say, James Wiseman has had some nice moments. But for a team that's in a position to win right now, as evidenced by them just crushing the Memphis Grizzlies on Christmas Day, could they part ways with one of their young assets to better improve this roster right now, especially without Steph Curry, to help chase another championship, to capitalize on this current championship window? Now, for James Wiseman, the ability is there. He has really good athleticism, as we just took a look at those numbers. And when you watch him play, he looks to be a very gifted big. But something is missing. Is it his basketball acumen? Is it the fact that he doesn't fit this system? Is it because he's playing with too many veterans right now where he's not able to find a groove and find his confidence because he doesn't play like a confident basketball player, and sometimes he looks lost? It's confounding to me because sometimes when you watch him at the G League level, you're like, how can this guy not average 20 points per game and 10 rebounds at some point in his NBA career while being a rim-running big, very important in today's NBA, and protecting the rim? So before we start to dive into these trade ideas, let's ask you this. What would you do with James Wiseman if you were in the shoes of the best basketball executive in the NBA and Bob Myers right now? Give me a T for trade or a K for keep. Sound off. Let us know in the comment section. As for these James Wiseman trade ideas, Bleacher Report put several together. And I think all these destinations are pretty solid because the landing spot for Wiseman makes a lot of sense. Let's start with the San Antonio Spurs. What Bleacher Report has here is for the Warriors getting Jakob Poeltl. And going back to my original point, this makes the Warriors better right now. And that's really the main thought for this organization. How do we win championships right now? We're not worried about 5 years from now because Steph, Klay, Draymond, they either might not be here or not the same player. And for the Spurs to receive Wiseman as well as Patrick Baldwin, it's not a terrible deal for the Golden State Warriors because of the player that Jakob Poeltl is. A big who averages 13 points per game this year, about 10 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a block per night, can at least stretch the floor a little bit. And you know that if he's playing in that San Antonio Spurs system, which is complex, just like Steve Kerr's, with all of the ball movement, all of the player movement, having that heady approach of finding the backdoor cuts, that Poeltl could play and succeed with the Golden State Warriors. And for Poeltl, he hasn't had an opportunity with San Antonio. That's kind of been a dormant franchise over the last couple of years to play in high-level games. So for him, he'd probably be very excited at the opportunity to come to the reigning NBA champions. James Wiseman trade destination number 2, Charlotte Hornets. Now, they did address center in the NBA draft this past year, but LaMelo Ball running the floor with James Wiseman. And for Wiseman, I like this because he doesn't have to worry about the pressure of being on a championship team. Instead, he goes to a mediocre to bad organization. He can put up a bunch of numbers, and maybe he gets that foundational confidence that he needs. And once again, it's the Warriors getting a veteran type of player in P.J. Washington, who has put up some pretty solid numbers over the last couple of years. This is a big who can shoot the 3 ball a little bit, so going to that floor stretching component, he can certainly add that. 37.5, 38.5, 36.5, 32 sub over the last 4 years here. A guy who can score it, he can rebound it, pretty efficient from the floor as well, although those field goal numbers down a little bit this year. Now, who would you really rather have, a P.J. Washington or a Jakob Poeltl, you might want to side with Jakob Poeltl in terms of his fit in this system, because I feel as though he'd be able to hop on board this basketball team and be a seamless addition, whereas PJ Washington, when I watch him, looks to be a player who needs to find a groove a little bit more so as compared to a player who you could bring in Jakob Poeltl. More trade ideas coming up. First, though, Rocket Money is today's presenting sponsor. Do you want to start saving money, and do you want to stop wasting money? Rocket Money helps you do that while optimizing your finances, and it all comes down to canceling unused and unwanted subscriptions. Are you wasting money on subscriptions? Get this. 80% of people have subscriptions that they forget about. Maybe for you, unused Amazon Prime account, Hulu account that never gets streamed. This app, formerly known as Truebill, allows you to cancel those unwanted subscriptions so that you can start saving money. The app shows you all of those subscriptions in one place, then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription, and to cancel it, all you have to do is press cancel. So to sign up, to start saving money, and to get this free app downloaded on your iPhone, Android device, it's very simple, folks. Head to the App Store, Google Play Store, rocketmoney.com/NBA now. Plug in that link so that they know that Golden State Warriors today sent you. More Wiseman trade ideas. Washington Wizards. They started off the season pretty hot, and over the last couple of weeks, they've started to become the team that we had envisioned. Now, this is pretty interesting here. And to get a player like Kyle Kuzma, who did help the Lakers win the NBA championship during the bubble season, you're going to have to give up a little bit more for this mock trade, James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga. This is difficult for me because I hate parting ways with two young players. You part ways with one and maybe a Moses Moody, I can swallow that. But Wiseman and Kuminga, two young guys who I'm high on, to get Kyle Kuzma could certainly help you. For sure. There's no doubt about that. He's a good scorer this year. He's really having a borderline career year just in terms of his scoring production, 21-plus points per game. Pretty good rebounder for how he plays the game of basketball, because sometimes it is score first. And in the early days of his Lakers tenure, when Kobe was still there, he did show the ability to score, and then once LeBron came, that kind of went out the window because his role changed a little bit. But 46% from the field, 34% from three, that does certainly play. Now, I will tell you this. If a trade does happen for the Golden State Warriors, you know who has you covered? Your boy right here, this channel right here. It is Golden State Warriors Today. Daily videos during the height of the offseason, and throughout the entire year, multiple videos per week. Lock us in, subscribe today. Also, let's ask you this. If you could have the 2020 number 2 overall pick again, who do you think you would take? Would it be a LaMelo Ball? Would you go back to James Wiseman, another player in that draft class? I'm testing your basketball knowledge and your memory here. Drop us a name in the comment section. To the Utah Jazz right now, like the Washington Wizards, even though they were better than the Wiz, started off the season really well. They were surprising a lot of people, turning heads. They've kind of come down to earth, and reality is set in just a bit. This is pretty interesting here because it kind of goes back to that first trade that we talked about, Jakob Poeltl, a playoff type of player who can help you out in a playoff series. That's what Kelly Olynyk is. So in this trade, Kelly Olynyk comes to the Bay Area, and it's that same two players going out. It's Wiseman and Patrick Baldwin Jr. And for Kelly Olynyk, a couple of years ago with the Boston Celtics in a critical, I believe, Game 6 or Game 7, he was making it rain. I believe the Washington Wizards. This guy has a lot of playoff experience. And this is kind of a foxhole guy who's not scared to play in a big moment. And last couple of years, it's not like he's played all that much, but this year, for an okay Jazz team, he is. The field goal numbers, really good, 53%. Three-point numbers, 44, 29 minutes per game. He will not play that many minutes per game with the Golden State Warriors. But he would be able to knock down the three, give you a small ball 5. He can hold his own down low as well. Another trade with the Utah Jazz. This is a Jazz trade number 2. As for what the Warriors would be getting back here, I like the first one better, no doubt about that. In fact, this one, I don't really like it. Jared Vanderbilt, who is really just okay, and then Rudy Gay, who is on the last couple of holes. If you're on an 18-hole golf course, he's probably on like hole 15, 16 of his NBA career. A first-round pick, giving up a first-round pick for Vanderbilt and Rudy Gay and James Wiseman. Simply, folks, the price is too steep here for a guy and Vanderbilt is averaging 8.5 points per game than Rudy Gay, who's averaging 16 minutes per and 4.5 points per game. I'm just simply not doing it. Vanderbilt can shoot the three a little bit. I like his length, his athleticism. He can be a championship type of piece on a team, but for giving up James Wiseman and a first-round pick, nah, fam, I'm good. So which trade is your favorite? We just talked about 5 of them here on the show. Let me know down in the comments section. We're going through all these trades right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You let us know which trade is your favorite. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. As always, we greatly appreciate all of your support of Golden State Warriors today. Kind of the doldrums of the NBA season in terms of content creation, but I can assure you that once things start heating up like they are right now, we are going to be here for you. So make sure you get ahead of the game and subscribe today.